are you everyone? First of all, I am Mohammed, and me and my friends we are working in Siemens Healthineers, and I would like first of all to thank Hackathon community for this nice workshop. Thank you so much. Our topic is actually about cancer. Cancer is really complex topic, and if you need to understand it, actually you have to look to the big pictures. That's why at the beginning when we start to look for this challenge, our goal was to understand first of all what is the biggest story behind the cancer. When you understand it, you can solve the problem. But without investigating time, without not understanding the problems, you will come up with not good solution, especially for the cancer. Can you move this? So as you can see here, we have the pathways. This is actually the cancer pathways for all the cancer diseases. As you can see here, we have a detection and localization. When the patient go to the hospitals, first of all, they detect their cancers, and after that, localize it. Second is the stages of the cancer. We have different stages of the cancers. And third, treatment plan. And after that, they go to the assist to treatment. And last but not least, monitor to replace. There is many problems. When we speak with Susanna, and actually she was like really helpful to explain everything for us. And that was like a time investigation to understand what is the problems. One, we have like many pain points, but the most interesting one was understanding the doctor's commands. And this is one of the problems that Susanna's husband explained for us actually, while he was like sitting the whole night to try to understand some of the comments, and that's like a lot of time. The second one was the different clinical and different approaches in the treatment plan. It's a really life-threatening when you don't know what is your clinical trials, because each patient has a different disease, a different type of disease when we are speaking about cancer, because the cancer is really sensitive and each one of them is different, so we have to know what is your clinical trials. And last one was the paperwork. There is a lot of paperwork, and no one from the patient want to spend a lot of time writing papers because they're already weak and they don't want to spend time on that. And one of the problems that I want to mention for you was the documentation. A lot of documentation. I want to go home and take it from the hospital, and after that send it to another doctor. Time wasting, and it's really sensitive. Time is really important here when we speak about cancer. Yeah, so the most important things which we want to speak about it is the framework of our solution. We have an app, it has a different features, but at the same time is customizable. I want to ask you questions, all of you. In your childhood, you had played with puzzle. I think most of us, we have did that. And that's actually is teaching us something, which is the small thing do matters, and we could collect them together. We look to the big pictures. Why we look to the big pictures? Because cancer needs it, because the small things do matter actually. When we collect these things together, we have a customizable interface. The patient can customize his interface. He can look to the different things as he wants, and depending in his treatment plan, depending in his needs. And needs is really important for the patient. From education to notes, overview, treatment plan, medical history, AI image, and others. Yeah, we can move. So here we go is our demo. Our demo is called actually CaPS, and CaPS means Cancer Puzzle System. And why we call it here? Because we mentioned about the framework and how much is really important to make the look to the big picture. So here we do agree that this app is not replacing the doctor. It's really important. We do agree on that, and after that we look at this is the most important features which we have speak about, from the medication to the history, feedback, education. For example, let's say the history of the patient. We enter inside and we see, for example, that was one of the pain points is the history. I don't know like where is my history, what is my documentation, where I save it. So this is important when I change my doctors, because sometimes the doctors does not give you what you need. You need to change it. So the data transfer should be really easy to take it from one place to another. You can send it also to your doctors via email easily. You can make a PDF file. Second thing was education. And when I was speaking with Suzanne, she said for us, like, I want to be educated actually about my situation. If I don't know what is my situation, how I'm going to treat myself, not understanding the doctor commands, I need to know what is about. So we also discuss think about this one, my cancer. You can check patient stories and other things. You can see how people are suffering from their cancers, and we have non-conventional treatment. Instead, like it's really harmful to take the treatment which doctors is giving to you. There's a lot of a treatment. Why we don't replace it with other thing, will do the same effect, which is like really critical here. So this is will release the patient pain actually. And here we can see medication. So I can look and see my medication. I can have like more information about it. And last but not least is customizing. Customizing is really important. The patient can have time actually to customize his app depending on his needs. And this is important for that. One of the features which we included in our app actually was a chatbot. Chatbot is a really nice and friendly demo which can actually speak to you and look to your needs, and it's really friendly for the patients with cancers. And one of the most important features, we say that understanding the doctor comments. Doctors generally spend 10 years or more just understanding and teaching and themselves about medication and things. So we don't understand what they are doing. So we can scan it, and after that it will be highlighted, the report, so we can understand what doctors are saying to us actually using AI technology. So as we can see here, it's saying for us, okay, this is your report and this is the most important things you have to care about. And this is for me and for the patient is really important to understand the doctor commands. We go to the photo gallery, we can see here the documentation for last times. We can also skip it. And here is one of the most important things. This hashtag is the wish list for the patient. The patient actually, there is some points actually is facing during his daily life. So at the same time, he can assign these points to other people to check and see how we can do that, how we can solve it. Yeah, so here, for example, we can see the most important 3 features. One of them is the community. The second one is the features for the report. And the last one is the documentation in our chatbot. And AI will be with my friends.
Right, so we will make some kinds of workshop application here. Here it is. This is Susanna's real data. You see there is really complicated. But right now I'm analyzing this data using some neural network structure. I analyze this data. I'm showing this data here. Looks really, really complicated. And right now I'm using my code for highlighting some special cases to understanding, and I'm giving some resource for more information.
Thank you so much. And after that, conclusion, what we have discussed today. First, the pathway. It's really important to look to the big picture, not only the small picture. Because if you dig deep in small things, you will forget the whole things. The development of the community, which is really important. We discussed that the people from other countries, they can see what things need to be improved. Look to the pathway, see the pain point, what we need to improve, and improve it with us in this app. And third, the AI and chatbot. And as you can see, this thing is connected to each other, and we need now one thing actually. We do trust you, and I hope you trust us. And we need fund actually for this project to bring it to life for the patient's need and for the patient welfare. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
I got a question regarding the chatbot and the AI part. As far as I understood it, right, like you could during chatting with the chatbot, you can make a picture of your doctor's documentation, and do you highlight yourself where do you have the question, so it puts in the question for yourself, or with making the picture of the documentation, it highlights for you what is important for you, that part I didn't get right. Yeah.
Basically, we have some dictionary, like a medical dictionary. This is also accessible right now. We are taking some information inside of this dictionary. For example, there is some short meanings. We are extending these meanings to understand for patients. The patients don't highlight something. The applications giving us some explanation.
We are translating the doctor words to the normal people work.
To be more understandable.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions, please?
For the question according the AI part, which AI model will you use?
I'm using Tesseract
Tesseract.
for understanding the image to text.
Okay.
After that, I'm using some machine learning algorithms, which in the TensorFlow for regarding this. Yes.
Who's training the model? Is it,
We can train all model. We are using some features of this model. Of course, if we have data, we can train. But without data, we can't train.
And you have no data at the moment, or you have a plan to get all this data?
Yes, we can take some data when users using this application. But data is really important for
AI will be trained with the user data.
We are using also, we are planning this Amazon Web Services also have some medical cloud architecture. Maybe we can add this API for a more efficient work.
So just to add, supplement one more point from Bara. So actually there are some libraries like Snopcode that they are taking care of the labeling of some data. So what I mean exactly is, for instance, if I am given a passage, so then actually it is possible to use a predefined dictionary, like a medical dictionary predefined by experts to train a model, and then use this model to maybe in this case to highlight the words, or sometimes it is sentiment analysis if it is getting more close to daily life.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that actually? Because how would you deal with different reports in different languages? Because I would assume most models have been trained on English, medical literature. What about German or?
Yeah, actually, that there's a real challenge, but I think for further stage we're gonna train a model in English because I think we can get more data in English, but we have to collect data and.
I have to add something this question. Amazon API is really useful for understanding technical data. I'm also suggested to your application. If you can use Amazon API, you can also use Deutsch language and German and English, French. Yes, everything is available.
Yeah, but anyway, for strictly speaking, one more, there should be one model for one language. This is,
Okay, enough from the AI. It's an impressive feature. What I'm really interested is about have you put thoughts into other people creating puzzle pieces? How do you do this? So how can other developers contribute to your solution?
What do you think,
This is especially my side. We designed this platform as an infrastructure. We will use some kinds of GitHub architecture for developing these extension parts. For example, Susanna mentioned this. We will make some wish list for understanding patients. For example, at India, there is some software developer and wants to create some feature for this app, just entering the wish list, taking some titles and creating a code. If these applications will be good, this is like a highlighting these features and plugin adding to our app.
But will you check the quality before?
Of course, like a beta version. After that, if this extension prove yourself in the community, they will take highlight.
So it might be possible that there are 3 different things solving the same problem, and we will have to find the one we like.
The best one. What do you think?
Of course, we can make some rating. For example, especially in some cancer types with some special features. We talked with this with you. For example, colon cancer. You can maybe we can take community's data and other patients' data and other patients' rating for some features. We can suggest these features to users. for a fast customizable structure.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have 4 different features and you have to choose one of them.
No. This is modular. You are,
Yeah, but there is an app store where you can find those modules, right?
yes.
And there might be 3 or 4.
No, you don't have to. This is
there
inside
only
of the.
one?
This is inside of the application, not at the App Store. You
Yeah,
are-
but inside the application, is there an option, maybe 3 different medication plans, and I have to pick one, or is there only one? And if there are more, how do I pick the best?
Actually, we can make this future. We can take the best solution that solves less tasks and put just one application, one application to solve this problem. So we in the early stage we can do this manual work. So yeah, we can take the best.
What if you check it by community?
Yeah, the community.
Maybe we can accept some features before releasing. This could be.
Yeah, the community can take conversation with each other to discuss the better way to do it and upload some these applications. And other group can do the same thing, and we can choose and they can vote or something like that. Thumbs up or likes, comments, likes.
To make the right decision. Other questions by the jury? Currently no?
Maybe I missed it, but in the beginning you said something about patients are getting information about clinical trials.
Actually, the clinical trials, it should be, how I can say to you, it's hard sometimes to give the clinical trials from other locations. But in this situation, the patient should be able actually to find in educating way. When you educate the patient, he will be able to get and find where his clinical trials, asking people and discuss with doctors, which make it easier from our app directly to try to find what is the best clinical trials. And in Susanna's situation, that was like a problem in order to find what is the best clinical trials for me. Doctor is saying something, but like he was searching the whole time to find what is the best solution for that. And this is like one of the most important points I find, like our apps should solve it. Yeah.
Any other questions from the group? Is there something you want to share with us?
Thank you so much, guys, for this nice event. Actually, thank you for Susanna. You are a really strong person to come here and share your story with you. Thank to the jury, thank to Mr. Christian, to everyone, because I think what you have done was like really important, because you was near near Susanna the whole time, and that is not easy things to do actually to leave your jobs and think about it. And in these situations, if there is other patients and they don't have people to help them, what they will do? This is really good questions to ask. That's it.
Thank you.